Good evening, everyone. Welcome to NTD Tonight. I'm David Zhang. Here's a preview of some of today's top stories. Former President Trump makes a stop at the courthouse. What he is saying about the latest developments in his 2020 election case. Why did Russia detain a U.S. citizen? More on who and the charges Russia is imposing. A state of emergency declared in Ecuador. More on the chaos that erupted and the disappearance of a gang leader. First up, former President Trump making an unexpected detour from his Iowa campaign trail, 1,000 miles away in Washington, D.C. He voluntarily showed up in court today as judges weigh his presidential immunity argument in the 2020 election case. NTD's Melina Weisskopf reports from the D.C. courthouse.
Former President Trump and Special Counsel Jack Smith are both eager to get answers in this federal 2020 election case. They want a court to rule as to the question as to whether or not the former president is immune from prosecution in this case. Trump appeared here at this federal courthouse here in Washington, D.C. earlier this morning without being required to do so. And this is interesting timing for the former president. It comes when all of his GOP challengers are currently making their last rounds in the state of Iowa to secure last-minute support there. But his appearance here in D.C. instead shows that his campaign team sees this as an opportunity to shore up more support for the former president by painting him as a victim of a politicized justice system. The former president, after leaving this courtroom today, expressed optimism in the case and doubled down on his claim of innocence. And in a rare moment, he showed gratitude to the media for covering his case fairly. Watch this.
I want to thank everybody for the fairness. We've been covered very fairly. A president has to have immunity. And the other thing is I did nothing wrong. We did nothing wrong.
Trump's legal team argued before 3 judges today that Trump's actions after the 2020 election fell within his official duties as president and served within the national interest. Therefore, they cannot be prosecuted. However, prosecutors argue that his actions were unprecedented and have no legal protection. Here's a bit of that back and forth.
Never before has there been allegations that a sitting president has, with private individuals and using the levers of power, sought to fundamentally subvert the democratic republic and the electoral system.
What he is forecasting is a situation where the floodgates will be opened. We are in a situation where we have the prosecution of the chief political opponent who's winning in every poll.
Now, as we await a decision here, it's important to note that whichever way the court rules, this case is still very likely to end up at the Supreme Court. And while Trump's trial was scheduled for March, this appeals process could delay it past that date and possibly beyond the 2024 presidential election. Reporting from Washington, D.C., Melina Weisskopf, NTD News.
Now let's take a look at other top headlines. In Georgia, a surprising filing accuses the Fulton County DA and a special prosecutor of having an improper relationship. The two are handling former President Trump's Georgia election case. The accusation comes from co-defendant Michael Roman, who seeks to have his indictment dismissed. Roman is one of the 19 defendants charged with racketeering. The document alleges a romantic relationship between DA Fannie T. Willis and prosecutor Nathan Wade, who is a private attorney. It says Willis contracted Wade without the required approval by the county. The 127-page filing also alleges the pair profited significantly from this prosecution at expense of taxpayers. The filing says Wade and the DA took lavish vacations, and he paid for them using the Fulton County funds his law firm received. The DA authorizes his compensation according to newspaper Atlanta Journal-Constitution. A spokesperson for Willis told ABC News their office will respond to the allegations through appropriate court filings. The House Oversight Committee has released their resolution to hold Hunter Biden in contempt of Congress. The resolution has to go through markups in committee before being sent to the House floor for a full vote. This comes as the younger Biden refused private testimony, saying he would only testify in a public questioning. Republican lawmakers have expressed a willingness for a public testimony after a private one, which they say is a standard procedure. The hearing over contempt charges is planned for Wednesday, a day before Hunter Biden is scheduled to make his first court appearance on tax charges. And an update on Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin's recent secretive hospitalization. Austin was getting surgery for prostate cancer. He later received a treatment for an urinary tract infection, according to doctors at the Walter Reed National Military Medical Center. In a statement, the Defense Department confirmed Austin received the surgery on December 22nd and went home the next day. That on the evening of January 1st, he was admitted to Walter Reed's intensive care unit after experiencing nausea and pain. The department said he remains hospitalized but is recovering and is in good spirits. He has resumed his full duties and remains in contact with his senior advisors. And an update on the Alaska Airlines Inflight blowout. Boeing's 737 MAX problems just got a little worse after the blowout of a part of the plane's fuselage during the flight last week. Regulators grounded over 170 MAX 9 planes, and federal investigators are gaining new insight into how a door panel came loose before flying off an airplane of an Alaska Airlines jetliner Friday night.
All 12 stops became disengaged, allowing it to blow out of the fuselage. We found that both guide tracks on the plug were fractured.
The National Transportation Safety Board, or NTSB, says they still haven't found 4 boats that hold the panel in or if they were even there in the first place. But the lost door plug was found Sunday near Portland in the backyard of a home.
I thought, oh my goodness, people have been looking for this all weekend, and it looks like it's in my backyard.
Authorities asked the residents to keep a lookout for any other evidence. Alaska and United are the only airlines that have Boeing 737 MAX 9 aircrafts in their fleet. United reported finding loose bolts and other installation issues in a preliminary inspection. The FAA approved inspection and repair guidelines for MAX 9 plugs on Monday, which could streamline the roughly 170 grounded planes returned to service. Boeing shares dropped over 6% Monday. A U.S. citizen has been detained in Russia on drug charges, which can carry up to 20 years in prison, a Moscow court said on Tuesday. Moscow's Oskentino District Court said that on January 6, Robert Romanov Woodland is being held in custody until March 5th on charges relating to the illegal acquisition or possession of drugs. He was detained on January 5th. A Facebook account in the name of Robert Woodland indicated that he had been working as an English teacher in Russia and lived outside Moscow. It was not immediately possible to contact Woodland in Russian custody. He appears to have both Russian and American passports. The U.S. says that several of its citizens are wrongfully imprisoned in Russia, including Marine Corps veteran Paul Whelan and Wall Street Journal reporter Evan Gershkovich. The State Department has repeatedly warned all Americans to leave Russia immediately, citing the risk of wrongful detentions and harassment from Russian security services. Just this afternoon, masked men broke onto the set of a public television station in Ecuador. The armed men shouted about explosives during a live broadcast. And just a warning, some of the following footage may be disturbing. Video circulating on X showed the staff of TC Television being forced onto the floor as shots and yelling were heard in the background. Ecuador's police later said they had arrested all 13 armed men. Members of the media outlet have been evacuated. Also on X, a video of armed gangs reportedly storming the University of Guayaquil and attempting to kidnap students. This comes as Ecuadorian President Daniel Noboa declared on Monday a state of emergency for 60 days, a day after top gang leader disappeared from the jail where he was being held. Noboa took office in November, promising to crack down on soaring levels of violence in the South American country. Ecuador's prison agency said that there were incidents on Monday at 6 of the country's overcrowded prisons. Photos and videos surfaced showing people in masks holding prison guards hostage. Clashes between rival gangs are frequent in the country and have left more than 400 prisoners dead since 2021. We'll take a short break now, everybody, but here's a look at what we have for you when we come back. Could the smash and grab become a thing of the past in California? One state lawmaker hopes to make that happen with this new bill. California audiences praise Shen Yun's artistry. One human rights activist says the performance hits in the soul. A big win for the University of Michigan Wolverines in this year's college football national championships. And why did the Tennessee Titans fire their head coach? Those stories and more coming up on NTD Tonight. Welcome back to NTD Tonight. I'm your host, David Zhang. A San Bernardino assemblyman introduced a new bill in hopes of ending retail theft in California. NTD's Christina Corona unveils more on the proposal.
Smash and grab robberies have increased throughout California, but there could soon be stiffer penalties for thieves who are caught and convicted. The bill, known as AB 1772, seeks to impose harsher penalties on repeat retail theft offenders with convictions for 2 or more specified theft-related offenses. Under the bill, introduced by Assembly Member James Ramos, store thefts will no longer be processed as misdemeanors without jail time. Punishment could range from imprisonment in the county jail, ranging from 6 months to 3 years. Assembly Member Ramos said in a statement, shoplifting, smash and grab thefts, and other acts of retail theft trends are causing retailers to close their businesses and endangering customers and employees. Since the pandemic, these crimes have increased. That is not the direction California needs to go. Ramos says public safety is a crucial concern when shopping and going into public areas.
And you see all these retail thefts, these mobs coming in, it makes you worry about your older people going out shopping on their own. But not only that, it affects the workforce of those that might look at for a job that's there, but knowing that this is in the back of their mind, not even going forward to apply for that job.
If AB 1772 is approved by the legislature and signed by Governor Gavin Newsom, it must also receive voter approval to become a law. Christina Corona, NTD News, El Monte.
The Supreme Court is allowing Idaho to enforce its strict abortion ban, even in medical emergencies. Violators could even face a prison sentence. It's one of the several legal battles in the state.
The U.S. Supreme Court on January 5th allowed Idaho to enforce its strict abortion ban, even in medical emergencies, while a legal fight continues. The justices said they would hear arguments in April and put on hold a lower court ruling that had blocked the Idaho law in hospital emergencies, based on a lawsuit filed by the Biden administration. The Idaho case gives the court its second major abortion dispute since the justices overturned Roe v. Wade in 2022. That ruling allowed some states to severely restrict or ban abortion. In the coming months, the court is also hearing a challenge to the Food and Drug Administration's rules for obtaining mifepristone, one of 2 medications used in the most common method of abortion in the United States. In a statement Friday night, President Joe Biden objected to the High Court's decision and said his administration, quote, will continue to defend a woman's ability to access emergency care under federal law. Idaho makes it a crime with a prison term of up to 5 years for anyone who performs or assists in an abortion. The justice's order Friday takes the case away from the appeals court. A decision is expected by early summer. Friday's development is just one of several legal battles currently making their way through the courts in Idaho. A federal judge in November temporarily blocked Idaho's abortion trafficking law from being enforced while a lawsuit challenging its constitutionality is underway. That law, which Idaho lawmakers passed last year, was designed to prevent minors from getting abortions in states where the procedure is legal if they don't have their parents' permission.
The state of California has hired security guards following an arson that shut down a crucial Los Angeles freeway late last year. NTD's Christina Corona has more.
Following the arson fire that damaged Interstate 10 at a storage yard, state-hired guards are now monitoring for signs of trouble, including smoke, at 3 or more sites beneath the freeway. These sites are all leased to the same bankrupt businessman, Ahmad Anthony Nawade. According to court records, the state has enlisted subcontracted security services in its effort to remove Nawade and numerous tenants subleasing through him, in violation of his contracts with Caltrans. Nawade's companies Apex Development Inc. and Metro Investments Group leased the storage yard that suffered fire damage, along with 4 other properties from Caltrans. All except one were situated under the I-10. Their court appearance is scheduled for later this month. No arrests have been disclosed in the arson fire that led to a 1-week closure of a crucial 2-mile stretch for commuters in Los Angeles. Christina Corona, NTD News.
A human rights activist is praising a performing arts group. He says Shen Yun is the best promoter of the true soul of China. He was impressed by the quality and thought the artists were extremely brave.
Francois Cavard, a human rights activist, and others were touched by Shen Yun Performing Arts in San Francisco.
Worth watching, very much. Worth appreciating, enjoyable. All my respect and all my admiration, and it hits in the soul.
I love all the artistry because years ago I used to dance and I know what it takes to be a perfection dancer, and they are perfection. They are simply perfect in all their steps. Everything is just so unique and beautiful.
Audience members remarked that the live orchestra and patented backdrop caught their attention, in addition to the dancers.
It's phenomenal. I've never actually seen, how they go onto the screen and it just kind of transforms you into a different magical world.
It's gorgeous the way you bend the classic art manners with the technique of the screen back and everything.
Breathtaking is one word, but there's vitality.
Established in 2006, the New York-based company's mission is to revive genuine traditional culture. Many talked about the moral values and culture depicted on stage.
It seemed there's a great deal of gentleness and respect for other peoples in the culture.
The message that, things are really difficult right now, very challenging. People are challenged in a lot of ways, emotionally, spiritually, and how we need to find our way again.
It's the best promoter of the true China soul, what Chinese people are really made of.
NTD News, California.
Now let's turn it over to NTD's Carlos Reyes, who is here to walk us through an exhilarating victory by Jim Harbaugh and the Michigan Wolverines, as well as the surprising decision by the Tennessee Titans to part ways with coach Mike Vrabel.
Jim Harbaugh and his Michigan Wolverines secured the national title, defeating Washington 34-13 in the college football playoff. Blake Corum's 2 fourth-quarter touchdowns sealed the deal for Michigan, capping off a season that Harbaugh described as going exactly as planned. Despite off-field issues including suspensions and a sign-stealing case, the Wolverines stood strong and Harbaugh claimed Michigan's first national title since 1997. Harbaugh's defense dominated, holding Washington to just 1 touchdown and intercepting Heisman Trophy runner-up Michael Penix Jr. twice. Michigan's Donovan Edwards and a robust rushing game set the tone early, and Corum's touchdowns in the final quarter secured the win. With a 15-0 record, Michigan claimed its 3rd national title. After 6 seasons, head coach Mike Vrabel is out, and 18 losses in the last 24 games ultimately sealed the deal. Titans controlling owner Amy Adams Strunk says it was a tough call, but believes a change is needed for the Titans to get back in the game. Strunk believes that to be true contenders, the team needs to be aligned and collaborative across the board. The first steps towards this were taken a year ago with the historic appointment of Rand Carthen as the franchise's first black general manager and an expansion of the analytics department. However, Strunk feels more changes are essential to realize the team's vision moving forward. This announcement came on the heels of the Titans clearing out their lockers, with Vrabel notably absent from addressing reporters. Despite the decision, players like Will Levis and Jeffrey Simmons expressed their desire to retain Vrabel as their coach, acknowledging the collective need for improvement. The Titans now join the ranks of 6 NFL teams on the hunt for a new head coach. The league's rules delay in-person interviews until after the divisional round, an effort to promote diversity in hiring. Coach Vrabel, hired in January 2018, leaves behind a legacy with a 56-48 overall record, including a memorable run to the AFC Championship game in the 2019 season. As the Titans head into the offseason armed with the 7th overall draft pick, the second highest salary cap space, and confidence in their rookie quarterback Will Levis, the anticipation is palpable. Adding to the excitement, the Titans are gearing up to break ground on a state-of-the-art $2.1 billion enclosed stadium this spring, set to open its doors for the 2027 season.
That's all we've got for you tonight. We would like you to join us again on NTD Tonight every weekday at 9 p.m. I'm David Zhang. Have a wonderful evening.